So I started off by sketching out the shape that I wanted and used a Stanley knife to cut out the design that I wanted for my backpack. And then I did half of it and flipped it over to make sure that it would be perfectly symmetrical. And I'd carved it all out with a Stanley knife, and that is the shape. I wanted wings that had a base big enough to cover my back, so I measured it approximately 65 centimeters across. I folded 1 square meter of 10mm fake lever foam into half, and I used the cardboard cutout over it, traced around it and cut around it. So again, I got 2 symmetrical pieces. I only had enough foam to cover one side, but if I did it again, I would definitely cover both sides with foam for a smoother finish. I used 6mm gauge wire to bend the frame into place. I used heavy duty pliers to cut the wire. For the lower part of the frame, I attached 2 D-rings to it. This is for the loops of the shoulder strap to go through. And then I glue gunned the other part of the frame on top of that and used fibreglass tape to sellotape them together before securing them down with a glue gun. I used the main material of my costume to wrap around the lower back part of the frame, and I used a glue gun to seal it off and cut it. And then now I've put the foam on top of the frame. I used some glue and was sticking it down all the way to make sure it's nice and smooth. And this is the fabric that I'm using. It's a 4-way stretch fabric, as you can see, but it settles really nicely for cutting it flat. I trimmed down this ribbon of gems and I removed the ones that didn't go with the colour scheme that I had, which were like blues. So I made a padded shoulder strap and did this at first, but then I decided to make a thinner one. I wanted one that would go with the top of my top, which was going to be a snaky green, as you can see. So this is the fabric that I did instead, and I added a rectangular loop on the end of it. That's to attach the other end of the strap that will go around to the lower back part of the backpack to hold it together on the shoulders. So I used some glues to stick it down, and then when it dried I trimmed it down and then just applied a bit more just to finish off the end, thinning it off. And this held up all day, it stayed, and yeah, it's really good. And it was nice and comfortable for the shoulders as well. Even though it's a lightweight thing, it was nice to have something that was padded and lightweight on the shoulders as well. As you can see, it bends very nicely, so it modes to your shoulders very nicely. And these are the overall materials that I used for my backpack, the feathers. So there's some curly ones there, some peacock feathers, and then I used another version of the ribbon gems as well. Removed some so that I could replace them with pink ones that would go with the colour scheme that it didn't come with. And obviously I used my glue gun as well. By the way, the colour scheme was set by Carnival Mania, who we jumped with this year. They were fantastic. Just tested out the first layer of the feathers and added some bits at the back as well. Don't watch the no makeup. And here's the final result. So you can see I added some bigger feathers on the bottom. And I've got my straps, got my hooks for the straps, and I added the gems along the edges there, and the other feathers. So this is the back. I think with the benefit of hindsight, I would have covered the back with some foam, not just stick the fabric directly onto the cardboard to prevent the lines from showing. Also, I needed to not trim these gems or use a sealant because they frayed a bit. But overall, I was really pleased with the result. I think it was great, and I think it felt great and it looks great. Now for the body of the costume, to make the sleeves, I drew around the sleeve of a top that I already had. I was going to draw around it at first, but then I just put it on half of a folded part of fabric, then automatically you get both sides without having to sew both sides together. So instead you just sew along one edge in the end. So I did 2 pieces overlapped on each other, so I got 2 sleeves done in one go. And here I was just seeing where I wanted to have the point climb on my fingers. It's the original monokini that I picked up on Carnival Mania, but I wasn't feeling being exposed too much this year, so I decided I wanted my stomach covered, and so I used a swimsuit that I had to cut around the fabric, and then this is what I cut, and I sewed this together for the main mid piece. But I cut the fabric slightly longer than the swimsuit because I wanted short shorts, and then I attached that fabric onto the existing monokini, and then I rearranged the pieces, made like a choke kind of design. I bought this rainbow ring and sewed the strap parts around it. It's like a feature piece, and this is the final result. Because I wanted it to have, I wanted shorts, there wasn't a shorts option there, and this is the final result. I sewed zip pouches onto my leg straps. If I had more time, I would have added more gems to this costume, but I was busy seeing Marshall Montana and Kez in between making this. I hope I've inspired you to give it a go and make your own costume. Thanks for watching.